Good morning and welcome to today's STS-134 mission status briefing. The work on board the Shuttle Endeavour has turned toward re-entry and landing. We have with us Entry Flight Director Tony Sacacci this morning. We'll start out with some opening remarks from Tony, and then we'll move on to our questions from our reporters. Tony?
All right. Well, thanks, Kelly. Good morning to all. We had a very busy and successful Flight Day 16 morning. On board Endeavour as the crew readied both the vehicle and themselves for the return home. See, today's activities, the crew woke up about 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time and hit the ground running as they do typically on the end of mission -1 day and getting the activities ready. Today we did checkout of the flight control systems, and that was completed with no anomalies. We also did a checkout of all the critical RCS jets that we used for entry. And that also went really well. We did a L-1 comm checkout of the Mila ground station at KSC, and again, that went well. We basically go down to that as the last part of entry. The commander and pilot, they did the standard pilot training, which they use a laptop application and practice landings. Throughout the day, the crew did the standard cabin stow activities. We also had the opportunity today to do a secondary payload of opportunity, we call it, the Rambo Ram Burn Observation. It's a series of +X jets that had some satellites taking a look at that. Later on today, as the last part of getting the vehicle itself ready, we're doing KU antenna stow, and crew will go to bed about 9 o'clock this morning. See, as far as weather, I know everybody keeps asking that. Weather is looking very promising for tomorrow. The past few days, the forecasts have been showing crosswinds above our flight rule limits for nighttime landing. And what has happened is, I should say, it looks very promising. And we've been looking at it the last few days. This high that we've had is set up, and we're able to get a good trend last night and this evening. And it's looking really well, and hopefully, and we're very confident the trend's going to stay the same for tomorrow. Right now, the forecasts are scattered at 2,500. We got winds coming out of 080 at 6, peaking at 10, giving us a crosswind of 10 knots, which is far below what we were predicting a couple days ago. And feeling pretty good about getting a better handle on the winds and feeling pretty good about where we're going tomorrow. We did take an observation today at landing time, and we will go with that. See, one thing that we are looking at, there's a pocket of cold air being steered by this upper level high, and possibly it'll give us some showers northeast of KSC, but well outside our 30 nautical mile circle that we're worried about. Quickly, the end of mission +1 forecast scattered at 2,000, broken at 25,000. We got winds coming out of 090, 8 peak to 12, and again, the crosswind is at 11 knots below our flight rule limits. As far as orbiter consumables, we have enough on board to support out to end of mission +3, with both LIO and the cryo being the limiting consumables. So with that, and next thing I'll give it to you real quickly is the entry strategy. Of course, for Wednesday morning, we're going to be calling up KSC only. Try those two opportunities, and then if we did have to waive off, the end of mission +1 day would be Pick'em Day. And even though we have the end of mission +3 capability, we decided just due to the duration of the mission, it'd probably be smart to get the crew down at the end of mission +1. And of course, we're going to make sure it's safe, make sure we have good weather set up and such. Get my notes here real quick. As far as tomorrow's activities, or today's activities later on this evening, the crew will get up about 5 o'clock today, Tuesday. Deorbit prep's going to begin about, and these are all central times. Deorbit prep's going to begin about 10:30 this evening. We'll close the payload bay doors at around midnight, and let's see, I should say 11:40, and our first TIG is around, our first TIG, KSC 248, is around midnight 29, so 0029 Central, with the landing at 1:35 Central in Florida. Second opportunity, if we needed it, the TIG's around 206 Central Time, with a landing at 3:11 in Florida, at Central Time in Florida. So I did have some ground tracks, but I wasn't going to put them up unless folks wanted to look at them. But basically, that's all I have for you, Kelly.
Thanks, Tony. We've been there on those ground tracks all night, and I'm sure you'll see them again. So we'll go right to questions. Thanks very much for that opening. Robert?
Hi, Robert Perlman with CollectSpace.com. I realize that the crosswinds look less of an issue than they were before, but can you just review what the crosswind limits are at the shuttle landing facility?
For nighttime, they're 12 knots.
And this may sound trivial, but given the coincidence of it happening, given visibility as they come in, is there any chance the shuttle crew might see Atlantis rolling out to the pad during their final approach?
You know, I really don't know. I'm sure it'll be all lit up. I think the plan is to basically have it at the pad before they land. But if they are looking out the window at the pad, I'd kind of be disappointed because they're supposed to be focusing. But I really don't know, Robert, if how it all timed out. I know it's that the rollout's going to happen around 8 o'clock or so. That's where it starts. So most likely they'll be, by the time, they'll be at the pad before, and that's 8 o'clock KSC time. They should be at the pad and before the landing of Endeavour.
All right, we'll go now to questions on the phone bridge, and we'll start with Denise Chow.
Hi. With the nighttime launch, are the limitations for safety much more conservative than if it were a daytime launch? I noticed you said the crosswinds are different for daytime, but are there other considerations that would be different for nighttime launches, or for nighttime landing, sorry?
There are a few things as far as landing gains and such. Of course, we want to make sure we have xenon lights up and have enough of those to give the crew good visibility for landing. And of course, at the SLF, we do have edge lighting on the runway, which is required, and we have some centerline lighting, which is not required as long as we have the edge stuff. But there are a few more constraints just because of nighttime, just to provide more visibility to the crew.
Thanks. And also, with Atlantis' rollout, if that should get delayed somehow, is there anything that the Endeavour crew would need to do, or you guys as the flight controllers, in order to have more safety precautions, or does that not really get affected at all?
It doesn't get affected at all.
Okay, if that's all from Denise, we'll move now to Marcia Dunn.
Yes, hi. Tony, I was just wondering if you could give your thoughts, please, on the fact that Endeavour will be coming back to Earth for the very last time.
I know that you guys have been asking folks a lot of those questions, and basically, like the last time when Atlantis came home, my focus right now is to make sure the crew gets home safely. And I'm sure once wheel stop happens and we have a little bit of time to think about it, it'll all come to us how we feel. But I really don't have any comments right now, Marcia, on that. Just focused on what we're doing tomorrow morning.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any further questions here in Houston? With not, we'll wrap up our briefing. A couple of programming notes starting at 5:30 a.m. Central Time today. We'll have some B-roll from Expedition 27 as Expedition 2627 flight engineer Katie Coleman gets ready for some interviews. We'll have those live interviews beginning at 6 a.m. Central Time. And then Endeavour's crew sleep scheduled to begin at 8:56 a.m. Central Time as they get one last term of rest before they get up and begin final preparations for landing. With that, we'll close the briefing out. Thanks for being with us.